Hey folks, I have your latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending December 29th. Quick story first though. I received a call the other day from someone who was thinking of selling their home. They wanted to know when's the best time this year to sell their home. Now they had already spoken with one of the what we'll call celebrity realtors that are advertising all over the place as to what they thought was the best time to sell, and that celebrity realtor told them that right now was the best time to sell. So this subscriber called me looking for my opinion. I asked them a whole bunch of questions. I needed to know answers to all sorts of personal things in their life that was going on to determine, in my opinion, when's the best time to sell. And through getting the answers to a bunch of questions that I asked, together we realized beyond a shadow of a doubt that it made more sense that they waited a few more months before putting their home on the market. And a couple of these reasons are, well, one, there was a major high financial penalty for them breaking their mortgage now versus a few months from now. That's a hard cost. And it wasn't a small penalty, it was a large penalty. And two, the current home that they live in that they were looking to sell would be far better marketed because of certain features that it had waiting a couple months versus now, which better marketing would also entail, in most cases, more money in their pocket. So together we made the decision waiting a couple of months was a way better option for them, and it made way more sense. Now that scenario versus what somebody says right now without even asking any questions, and you know, the process that we went through to determine when's the best time to sell, that's the difference between a salesperson and a consultant. We see ourselves as consultants, and generally consultants, their goal really is to work in the best interest of their clients. And as consultants, who you hire matters. Hiring a consultant can many times be the big difference in you maximizing the sale or even the purchase of the property you're looking to buy. We study the numbers, we study the micro markets, we look at everything to help reach our decisions, and not everybody does that. So again, who you hire matters. Make sure you're working with a consultant that's really going to give you the best advice for you. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to talk to us, anything at all related to real estate, we've made it really simple. In the description below, there's a link to my calendar. Just click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way we'll know ahead of time and we'll make sure we're available. We'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Let's get into the numbers. I should say before we get into all the numbers I'm about to talk to you about, that the weekend that we're dealing with right now, week ending December 29th, the last week of the year basically, included Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. So there wasn't any kind of reporting going on in those days. And the next couple of days, the Monday and Tuesday, because Christmas Day and Boxing Day fell on a weekend, Monday and Tuesday after that were also public holidays. And a lot of the brokerages weren't open, and people really weren't buying and selling on those specific days. So take these numbers that I'm about to present to you with a grain of salt. I wouldn't base any serious decisions on this 1 week of activity alone, and the few weeks just before, just after the holiday season are really not the weeks to look at those numbers as, wow, this is exactly what's going on, because the reporting through the brokerages is just not the same as it is in, we'll call it, regular season. Okay, so here we have the City of Toronto detached properties. We sold 34 detached properties across the City of Toronto for week ending December 29th. Now the 34 is way down from the previous week of 126. So 34 sales, 9 of which were at $2 million or more. Average sold price jumped way up to $1,789,000, which is 8% higher than last year's average sold price. Of the 34, 38% sold at list price or more, which is a huge difference from where we've been sitting before. We were sitting in the high 70%, just under 80% being sold at list price or more. This 1 week that we're talking about now is 38% being sold at list price or more. Only 28 detached properties were listed across all the city of Toronto, so it's not a lot. And months of inventory has shot way up. I mean, you could see it here for over the last 3 months. We're sitting at, in most cases, 0.8, 0.9, 1. For this 1 week, December 29th, we're sitting at 2.4. And these numbers really just depict the relationship between supply and demand. How many properties are available for sale versus how many are we actually buying during the week will give us our months of inventory. So basically on the current numbers, we're sitting at 2.4, but remember what I said about these numbers currently, and average days on market is sitting at 24. When we break the city of Toronto down between central, east, and west, we can see the different numbers, and they're really different buying or selling experiences in each of these areas. When we look at West Toronto, average sold price is sitting at $1,417,000. We sold only 12 properties in West Toronto. 50% of those were sold at list price or more, and the average sold price of $1,417,000 is 4% higher than what it was last year at this time. Months of inventory in West Toronto is sitting at 1.7. When we look at Central Toronto, where the lion's share of the luxury properties are, well, we sold only 11 detached properties. 9% of those sold at list price or more, which is extremely low, but the average sold price of $2,363,000 is 65% higher than what it was 12 months ago. Months of inventory has shot way up. We're sitting in a balanced market territory of 4.4 months of inventory for that 1 week, that week ending December 29th. And looking at East Toronto, we sold only 11 detached properties. 55% of those sold at list price or more. And the average sold price of $1,622,000, which is the highest price that we've ever had in East Toronto, is 39% higher than what it was 12 months ago. Months of inventory is sitting at 1.2, which is way lower than the other parts of Toronto. However, it's really high for East Toronto because we're used to 0.4, 0.5. We're now sitting at 1.2 months of inventory. Looking at semis, we sold only 7 semis, but 5 of those were at $1.5 million or more, which took average sold price way up. I mean, almost all the semis were luxury semis. Months of inventories for semis is sitting at 2.1 months of inventory. Looking at townhouses, we sold only 4 townhouses in all the city of Toronto. Average sold price is sitting at $1,455,000, and months of inventory is sitting at 1.7 for townhouses. All these numbers are going to be readjusted in the next week or two when we get into regular reporting from the brokerages, when their admin offices are all open. So that'll all adjust, and I would imagine it kind of comes back down to where we were before. Looking at condos, similar story. Sales, we sold 138 condos last week in the city of Toronto, which is way down from the previous week of 254. Average sold price is sitting at $690,000, which is 12% higher than last year's average sold price. Of the 138 that were sold, 53% of those sold at list price or more, which is in line to where we were dealing with before. Only 84 were listed, which is way down from what we listed the previous week of 175. And months of inventory has gone up to 1.6, with 19 being the average days on market. When we look at a summary of all the months of inventory, well, months of inventory went up in all these regions. we're going to see that readjusted, and it will come down. I don't make predictions, but I know this is a funny week to really be looking at numbers. We didn't want to take a break, though. We are reporting these numbers on a weekly basis, and that's what we're doing today. But we are telling you, don't take these numbers as that's the new norm. It's the norm on a holiday week with sporadic reporting of numbers. Have an awesome day. We'll talk to you soon.